you know, and unfortunately we should have had 3 wins, but that's the way it goes. But we started off the season probably facing the toughest countryside, and they came out and got the 2 points, but we're going fairly well.
Yeah, that's the one they stuck up on you, wasn't it?
Yeah. What?
Who was the team that beat you?
Toowoomba.
Toowoomba, that's right, in Toowoomba,
Yeah, they were really fired up, you know, the first state league game, and I think they probably would have beaten most sides, doesn't matter where they came from on that particular day.
Yeah. What about last week's game against Wide Bay, 17-8 you won? Are you quite happy about that one?
Yeah, I thought we probably had our best defensive game for the whole season. I was fairly happy. The press reports sort of indicated that we were battling right through till Neville Draper scored the last try, but the game was in hand as far as I was concerned right throughout. The only thing that kept them in was the referee.
Graham, do you think Gold Coast are as good as what they are? Because you did get away to a good lead for, when you played them at Lang Park 2 weeks ago, and you shot away to a 2010 lead, and you should have won it naturally being coach. What did you think of that performance?
Well, I was disappointed in our fellas, but I don't think that I can take too much notice of it, because we probably spent 30 minutes without the ball, and it's fairly hard. In the last quarter of that game, we were penalised 7-0 and lost the scrums 8-1, so it's fairly hard to carry a game on from there. But as a coach, the sides that we've played against, I'd probably rate Gold Coast and Wide Bay as the best sides so far.
Graham, you have been not complaining, but you're a bit worried about referees. They have been giving you a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think it's a pity really that the Brisbane public can't see the referees on TV just to see what the Brisbane sides have to put up with, because we've had 2 or 3 or you know, a couple of good refs, but at least one of them, as far as I'm concerned, is just a cheat.
Well, that's fair enough, and I hope you don't get him in the grand final, Graham. Graham, you're playing Winner-Manly today. You've got a few injuries, I believe.
Yeah, we've got a few players that we haven't been able to consider today through injury. We've got Joe Kilroy out, Brian Bird, Peter Dutton, Dennis Cook, Paul Gorman, so that's a nucleus of a good first-grade backline, but we've got capable players replacing them, and I'm quite confident if they play to their, you know, their maximum ability, that they'll be able to come away with the game all right.
Graham, it's bad luck for Joe Kilroy. He's got a lot of ability, hasn't he?
Yeah, Joe has had a lot of pressure on him, probably more than any other player in the competition, and I've given him a particularly hard time, but he was responding well, and he had a fairly good game against the Gold Coast, and last week, the first 15 minutes that he was on, he made 3 or 4 very good breaks, and you could tell he was set to have a good season, I think. Well, it's just unfortunate he's out for 6 weeks.
It's bad luck, isn't it, because he might put a bit of weight on, won't he? Well, anyway, you're playing Winner-Manly today, Graham. Do you think you'll win?
Yes, I think we can win as long as the players all put in 100% effort for 80 minutes.
Graham, thanks very much for coming up, and on behalf of Channel O, we'd like to give you this Club Collection vintage port, mate, with the old devil sign on it, and if the boys aren't going to at half-time, you might be able to give them a nib of it.
Yeah, sure will.
Thanks very much, Graham.
Thanks, Barry.
Well done. By the way, Graham Lowe also advises that Nev Draper, who was one of the reserves for Norths today, is out. He has a bad back, and Campbell Dews has been added in there. OK, Norths and Wynnum. George, which way do you think?
I've gone for Northern Suburbs. Should be a tough one. Wynnum-Manly have made changes also. Of course, they've got a fellow by the name of Wayne Holder playing in the halfback position, and Brian Walsh goes into 5/8, and Tony Camburis goes to lock. That seems to be the way to win games over the last couple of weeks, changing these guys around. But I still think Northern Suburbs have got the nucleus of the better side, and Norths to beat Wynnum for me.
Barry?
I disagree with you, George, there. I think I'll go for Winner-Manly simply because Norths, you know, they're up a hot and cold side, and I feel that probably their injury list might be worse than what Winner-Manly is, so I'm going for Winner-Manly to win.
I've gone for Wynnum also. I think they might be just capable of just rolling Norths this afternoon. Very quickly, the other matches, fellows. Southport.